coffee. What's going on, peeps? My name is Sean. Welcome to my life. So this morning I was sat here editing my video from yesterday, which is really just an announcement video saying that I'm gonna be vlogging. And I realized that I don't have like a title screen for it, you know? Like I edited the whole thing and then I realized like there's no, it just seems to lack some structure. So today I'm going to show you guys how I make GIFs in Photoshop that I'm going to put at the beginning of my videos as a little title screen, add some structure to the videos for now on. Let me switch to my computer and I'll show you what I mean. Alright, we're here in Photoshop and the first thing I'm going to do is come over here and press the rectangle tool or just hit U and just draw a basic rectangle, and this will be our background. Now I'm actually going to change the fill to black because I want the lettering that we're going to make to be white, and so you can't see white on white, so we're going to make the background black and enter, and that will be our background. So we have our background. Let's go down here and start a new layer, and if you hit T then you will bring up the typing tool, and let's go ahead and type Life of Sean. And I'm actually going to put Sean on the next line. It's nice and centered by pressing the center button up here. And I'm using Times New Roman right now. You'll see why I'm using that. We're going to make our own sort of font off of Times New Roman, so that doesn't matter right now. All right, so if you press V, then you can move it around, and Control T brings up the resizing box. And if you hold Shift and drag it out, you can resize it to whatever size you want. I want it to be pretty big because we want it to be as visible as possible. And pressing enter gets rid of that, and now you're good to go. So now we have our size that we kind of want here, and we're going to use Times New Roman as a general guideline for our font, but we're going to make our own. So what we're going to do is actually come down here, select the Life of Sean layer, and drop the opacity down to, let's say, about 7 to 10%, whatever works for you, just so we can easily see through it once we start drawing on top of it. Now let's start another new layer down here. So we have our background, we have our font for inspiration, we have a new layer, we have the brush we want, we're all ready to go. How are we going to turn this into our own sort of style of font? We're just going to come up here and we're just going to start with just outlining the whole thing just like this, and we're going to keep the same sort of general style as the original Times New Roman, but we're just going to add our own sort of little sketchy theme to it, I guess. And we're just going to do this for the whole thing. Just going to go around and sketch the whole thing out like this, and this will just give it a lot more relaxed, a lot more laid back feeling. So I'm going to do this whole thing and then I'm going to get back to you guys when it's done. All right, check it out. So I did the outline here. If I hide this layer, you can see there is our sketch outline now. Kind of cool, kind of bland though, right? Well, we're not done yet. So to make this look a lot better, what we're going to do is actually come in here and just start filling this in one line at a time. And doesn't have to be perfect. Actually, again, I don't want it to be perfect, so we're just gonna go and see how this ends up. Alright, if you've made it this far, you might be asking yourself, where does the GIF part come in? Well, we're going to do that now. So first, we're going to merge these two layers by clicking on one, shift clicking on the other, right click, and merge layers. So now this is just, we'll just say, we'll go back to layer 1. So now everything is on one layer, just like that. Now we're going to have a new layer, layer 2, and what we're going to do is basically have every single different layer that we make be a different frame in our GIF. So for this one, we have this as layer 1 or frame 1. This, which has nothing on it right now, is going to be frame 2. So what are we going to put on frame 2? Basically the exact same thing that we have here, only slightly different. So we're going to redo all of this on layer 2, but I want it to be slightly different, so we're going to copy it as close as possible but it's going to be slightly different because obviously we're not going to be able to copy it perfectly. So let's do that. We can drop the opacity of this to make it easier. Right about there is fine, I guess. And make sure you click back on the layer that you actually want to draw on. And here we go. We're just going to trace it now as closely as possible. Doesn't have to be perfect. Don't want it to be perfect, but we want it to be close. Let's do it. Check it out. So we got 3 different layers here, all slightly different. Same thing, Life of Sean, obviously. So we can get rid of this layer, the layer where we wrote it out in Times New Roman. We can get rid of the background, and now we're just left with just our lettering. What we're going to do now is come up here to the top, go to Window, all the way down to Timeline. So that brings up this timeline here at the bottom of the screen, and we can just select Create Frame Animation and go ahead and click that. And then with this drop down menu here, we can select Make Frames from Layers. So you can notice now at the bottom here, all 3 of these are the different layers of our text. And over here on the right where it says our layers, you'll notice that as we cycle through the frames, it just cycles through the different layers. So if we press play down here, you can see it just cycles through the different layers in a continuous loop. Now, if you want to change that, you can select this, and you can select 3 times or just cycle through it once. So I went ahead and I added back in the background just so we can see it a little bit better. You're going to want to delete this before we export it, but for right now, we'll leave it in. So what you're going to do is just add as many seconds as you'd like for the frame to show up. I'm going to add 0.5. And I think that looks pretty good. It gives it a little bit of depth, some animation, some movement. I think it looks pretty cool. All right, so to export it, go to File, Export, Render Video. And you're going to name it whatever you want. I'll do Life of Sean Intro and select whatever folder. Now for this, for the format, you want to select QuickTime and then come down here to the Alpha channel and make sure that Straight Unmatted is selected, and then click Render. So I hopped over to Premiere here and went ahead and pulled up the GIF that we just made, and you can just click and drag it into Premiere just like you would any other video. You can get rid of the audio channel, you don't need that obviously, and there we go. So now we have this little GIF here. So for my purposes, it only repeats once, so all you have to do is just copy and paste it. So for my purposes, it only plays through once. If you want to, you can come back into Photoshop and basically just copy and paste these layers and create duplicates of them and then run the whole process over and make it however long you'd like. Alright, so there you have it. That's how I made the title screen for the vlog. I hope you liked it. You can do the same. You can use this for making anything from cartoons to, I used it for a lot of my animations that I use on my stream. All kinds of different stuff. The sky's the limit. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and a comment down below, and I'll see you guys next time.